Fuck, where were we?
You're on your hot take.
Yeah, your hot take.
I'm fucking starting. Yeah, killer.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Someone else do
Sweet.
that.
Action.
Puff and pass.
What is up, guys? It's Red. Welcome back to Puff and Pass. This is episode 2, season 2. It's good to have everyone here. How you guys feeling today?
Yeah, good. How are you, bro?
Splendid.
Good shit.
Alive.
Yeah. That's what we like.
That's well.
That's what we like. Jumping straight into the news this week, I fucked up last week's story
Yeah.
on 1-year-old Neva. Now, if you watch last week's episode, we actually bring up, how did all the Wiggles get to South Australia?
Just to clarify, what you said was
yeah.
a 5-year-old, how old is she?
1-year-old.
1-year-old girl got her legs stuck in a drain and the Wiggles came
And
to
sang
sing her to comfort her.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck?
Yeah, okay, so first of all, I fucked up that story.
Yeah.
The firefighters sang Wiggle music to Neva while her leg was being pulled out.
Yeah.
That was posted to social media and went viral, as it does.
Yeah.
And the Wiggles went, oh my God, we got to do something about this.
They're like, we should have been there like these podcasters said we were.
Just like Red said we were. We should have been there singing.
Yeah.
So when they had a concert like a week after, they invited her there and she was a special guest. She got to go on stage and like perform with them and stuff and sing with them. So
That's killer, really.
yeah. So
Did you fact check it this time?
I did. I promise. I actually checked it this time. So
Killer.
yeah. Neva.
Shouts out Neva. I should get my foot stuck in a fucking
I
drain
know,
sometime.
man.
I
Become
love
a
the Wiggles.
I know how good they had.
Fruit
They had an
salad.
adult show. Yummy,
what?
Yummy. They had an adult show.
I'd
in
pay so
Adelaide?
much to see that. What do you mean?
Does anyone know about
Like they
that?
strip?
Yo.
Hey,
How
maybe.
adult?
Yo.
Have you seen the new yellow Wiggle?
Oh my God.
I don't want to talk about the new Wiggles. All right, it
Can we-
hurts my soul.
Yeah.
Wait.
Can we just
Surely
talk
they're
about the
not
fact that it's
only-
also not Wake Up Greg? It's
I feel
Wake Up
like
Lachlan.
there's only one original member, like Blue Dude.
That's fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Wow.
blue.
Isn't
the
there a
blue
girl
guy.
Wiggle now?
Yeah, the
That's what I'm
yellow
saying,
one.
the
Oh, the
one.
yellow.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Bring her out right now.
cool.
Oh my God. You're like quick.
Photo.
Just
Camera magic, edit magic, right here.
Yeah.
continue.
Second
Speaking
story.
of yellow things.
Yeah, second story for this week on the yellow subject. The Big Bird Bandits have been spared jail time over foolish and immature Sesame Street costume theft. So if you remember,
Yeah.
I think it was last year, sometime during a festival
know.
here in Adelaide. Yeah, one way or another, these three dudes, the way they're being
Was it
referred
three of
to on
them?
the internet, a trio, the troublesome trio.
Oh, true. Because
Yeah.
bring up the clip. It's a clip of two of them that wearing swaggy outfits.
They are dripped
They are
out.
dripped out.
Look at these
Yeah,
guys.
if I saw these guys in my courtroom, I'd let them go anyway.
Damn, yeah, no
Facts.
And the news reporter lady asked them like, how do they get to Sesame Street?
Found in the beak of the costume included an apology for being such a big burden.
Oh, that's funny.
Ha! You meant to laugh when I say funny things, guys?
I love these guys. My bad.
We had no idea what we were doing or what our actions would cause. We were just having a rough time and we were trying to cheer ourselves up. We had a great time with Mr. Bird. He's a great guy and no harm came to our friend.
Yeah.
The prank was described as foolish and immature. They each have to pay a $500 good behavior bond. They each have to pay a $500 fee and they're all on good behavior bonds for the next 2 years. So no
Goodness
jail
me.
time.
They
but
only have to pay $500.
yeah, each for
Right.
$130,000.
And that's the whole thing
costume.
sorted.
Yeah.
And it's
That's killer. Shout out my boys. Next time they come to Adelaide, we're taking more suits.
Yeah, no
the
shit.
only reason that's so expensive is because of them yellow dyed ostrich feathers, and it came from New York, I think, to go to that circus.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. It was found next to an electricity box on Port Road in Theberton.
Yeah. They left it on the main
I didn't
road.
realize it was actually so close to
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
That's
it was
so
legit
sick.
right there.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
that's bad. Don't steal Big Bird costumes.
So yeah, that's the
without me.
news. That's the news for this week, guys. That's what's happening.
Killer.
So yeah, Neva was a special guest in the Wiggle show, and the trio who stole the Big Bird costume only face a $500 fine and 2-year better behavior.
That's
bond.
killer.
So, good things
That's
happen.
so worth it. $500 for the
Yeah.
bragging rights of taking
I
the
was
Big
gonna
Bird
say.
costume. Surely they fucking wore it. If
For-
they actually don't have selfies in that,
Big
It
loss.
picks in the Big Bird,
loss.
man.
Yeah,
Missed an opportunity.
Yeah. For the record, they had a clean record before all of it.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
they
killer.
weren't violent people or anything like that.
Killer.
So they
That would've
had no
helped.
previous theft charges or anything.
That's why they got let off on good
yeah.
behavior.
The judges said they're all young men with promising futures. So
Yeah.
good to
Killer.
hear. Good to hear.
It's because they're fit. You seen those guys?
They were dripped, man.
Like,
They were.
have you seen the
Class.
clips?
Nah, man.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. They actually got
That's
some
what's
mad
up.
style. They're
They were
killer.
looking good. They
Hell
were
yeah.
looking good. All right, guys. So for today's main subject, we're talking social standards.
Yeah.
We're talking expectations. We're talking standards. This is kind of whatever comes to your mind when I say this sort of thing. But yeah, I've got a few leading questions, so I think it'll be great to just run with. Is bullying ever okay? That's something I'd like to discuss right now.
I feel like I have a super strong hot take on this. I feel like I should probably wait a second.
No, yeah, well, today's the day for hot takes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And conflicting
Yeah.
opinions.
Rachel, Rocky, what do you guys think? When I say, is bullying ever okay? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Comes back to like intent, like why you're bullying them, because you can bully your friends just like in a relaxed situation.
True that.
Like
And it's-
banter.
Yeah, banter. It's
Yeah.
like bullying, but like obviously it gets more extreme, which is not good. But yeah, what's your hot take? I'm interested.
It'll come.
It'll
It'll
come,
come.
yeah.
What do you
It'll
reckon?
come. Oh god. Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing. It's like family members and stuff. You don't mean to, but you bully the crap out of them just because
Yeah.
they exist and frustrate you.
Mm.
But it's not accepted.
Mhm.
That's kind of like the. I'll heckle a lot of people. I heckle you for fuck's sakes.
Face.
But it's like whether it's actually socially accepted or
Yeah.
personally accepted is another fucking subject altogether, really.
For sure.
I don't think it is a lot of the time, but
Yeah.
still do it.
I think it ties into last week a little bit when we were talking about like it depends on the dynamic of
Yeah.
the relationship you're in with said person. Like
For
when
sure.
I think bullying, like when I was in the peak of my sports at Skid Kids, my coach bullied the fuck out of me. He made me cry every
Yeah.
training session, but he broke me to build me back up.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That was a high pressure environment, and no one else is gonna go, oh, you take first place, Red. Like
Yeah.
you have to get bullied into being good. Like I think the word bully, like it depends what you define bullying as.
Yeah, there's
Um,
bullying, and then like like really strong encouragement, which
Yeah.
is I feel like
True. Yeah.
because for sure it also depends on the victim of the bullying, because it's like depending
Yeah.
on how mentally strong they are, they'll take that as something negative or positive, you know.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's a totally good point to bring up. Like, what even is bullying? Does it change for each victim? Like,
Mhm.
for them? Like the definition varies for everyone. Like, for sure. So,
Yeah,
like you might not even be dishing stuff out as bullying, but like the other end might receive it as such, you know?
Yeah,
So I
like,
think that's a
is-
real good point to bring
Is
up.
your intent like constructive criticism? Like that looks terrible. If you did this, it'd be better. But
Yeah.
people take it as, oh, I'm crap. I can't do anything good.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, it also depends on the mentality, like, and the mindset of people, because
Yeah.
we all think very differently.
for sure.
So I'm trying to pull up what the actual definition.
It'll come up as something as consistent, purposeful. I mean, like, it'll be
Yeah.
consistent harassment targeted to someone
For something
on
they can't-
purpose.
yeah, on
like
purpose,
that's
yeah.
it'll be something very similar to that.
Bullying is an ongoing or repeated misuse of power in relationships with the intention to cause deliberate psychological harm.
I feel like bullying is very important for our ecosystem as human beings.
Like
For-
our social.
yeah, for our social life.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's super important because it teaches us social norms. Obviously, you have bullies who are just doing it to be like fucking idiots, but like sometimes when you're like, how do I put this? I can't put it in a good way. Look, it's fucked. You know, like some people are just fucked, and then they get told they're fucked in a harsh way,
And they change
which is
it.
positive. Yeah.
and sometimes that can curve them into a good direction. You know,
A bad way of saying this is it puts some people in their place.
true. It's
That's
Yeah, I
a
get that's a
bad
really
way of
blunt
saying-
way to say
yeah.
it, but yeah.
like you have people who are just like obviously
Reality check.
Mm.
be yourself, be you. But if you're fucking weird, like in today's social standards of weird,
You're gonna cop it.
you're gonna cop it. You're
Yeah.
weird. Like that's just how it is. You're gonna get picked on. I feel like especially in schools, it's pretty important because that gets you really prepared for the real world.
So Ty, can you give me an example of what you mean, man?
Yeah, look, man, I was having this discussion with like my friend in class, and we were talking about this guy, this kid. He's pretty young, and he was homeschooled from 3rd grade. And when he was in 3rd grade, I was gonna make up a random superhero because I don't want to expose this
Yeah,
kid, right?
cool. Not doxing anyone here.
No. So he was fixated on this superhero in 3rd grade. It was like one of the biggest things coming up. And he was homeschooled until about recently, and then maybe like a year or two below us. Not actually from our school. They're just some random, right? And like they're coming to school, they're going to their school wearing like this superhero printed on every item of clothing they had, like wearing real like childish sort of stuff. And it's like, because they were pulled out of school and they were in their home, which is a super caring, loving environment where their parents are saying, do whatever you want, do whatever makes you happy. They weren't taught social standards of like making themselves look appropriate when out. They just look like...
Well, it's your interests change as you get older.
That's
like,
right.
They didn't have that.
So they never got to grow into their other phases and explore other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, like... And now they're getting picked on heaps now. They don't know how to cope with it.
For sure.
And it's pretty full on. Just because they didn't have it growing up, now they're like real stuck in a spot where like every bit of criticism is the harshest thing they've ever heard.
Yeah, I was saying that last night to like my partner when we were having this chat. I was like, if I got bullied for things that I have been bullied for when I was 25 versus 15, like it would be a way different reaction. Like I'm more prepared for it now. I know how far I can push it. I know what society expects from someone like me.
True, yeah.
Like, I agree with what you're saying.
Like I think now we're living in a time where bullying isn't present enough. I know,
everything's real snowflakey these days.
That's a hot take because obviously exception every rule. Like it's still going on. People are still getting mad fucked up due to shit like that. But like growing up, like I was like the fattest kid in my class. Here's a photo. Right? Sorry for everyone listening in. You gotta see the visuals, you know? Like I was like the fattest kid in my class and I always got picked on for it. And like
picked on, what about picked last? You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm serious.
No, but you're
never
right.
picked.
Yeah,
you're
fat
right.
children.
I was a little fat kid who ate too much and didn't do enough sports or anything to compensate for it, you know? And like I think at that age you can blame it on like your peers, like who's around you, encouraging you to do things. But like being picked on was one of the best things to happen to me because then it helped me pursue fitness, get fit. And now like I've never been so positive about my body and the way I look.
Never
and
loved
shit.
yourself so much.
That's right. And it's all because of that little kick in the ass that I needed to get my shit together, go out there and pursue what was actually really good for me.
For sure, man. For sure. It's like how and it was not the exact same thing, but it's like how it's not that I don't believe in participation awards. That's not what I'm saying. Everyone should get acknowledgement.
Yeah.
But when you're giving last place a trophy every time in a safe environment, then they go into a real life environment and they don't get a trophy for coming last place. It's like, well, what the fuck? Yeah. Like I did try my best. Well, sometimes
your best isn't good enough.
You know, like things there are different standards and expectations in every thing. Like, So I know they're kind of different, but I think that goes hand in hand.
For sure. But yeah, no, like there's a point where it gets too much. It's really like beneficial to your character growth. But also that's like all considerate of the person who's getting picked on and shit.
For sure.
Like you can't be like tiptoed around your whole life. You know?
People are going to offend you.
Yeah.
People are going to say shit that offend you, do things that offend you.
Yeah.
You know, and when we're talking about bullying and intent and stuff, I thought of a really good example. I won't, again, bring up names. Don't want to not dox anyone the best I can.
Yeah.
But the situation I was using is someone that I went to high school with was outed as a white supremacist. And now I'm just saying, if I was ever in a school situation with that person again, I would bully him. I would make his life a living hell because I'm very fucking passionate about things like that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and go, oh, I'm a perfect person. I would never pick on anyone. I would never bully anyone or belittle anyone. And I am picking on him because of his beliefs. Because his beliefs are fucked up, in my opinion. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like, it depends where the passion's coming from.
Yeah.
It depends the dynamic of the situation. Depends if it's a school place, if it's a workplace situation.
I know I'm the one with the hot take, but flip that back a bit, right? What if it was bullying that got him into that scenario though?
Like what made him an asshole?
Yeah. What made him a Nazi?
I mean, I have a different opinion on
let's
that.
Let's not sugarcoat shit. This cunt is a fucking Nazi,
thank
bro.
you. He is, yeah.
Like, the shit that he was getting up to.
He has planned attacks.
The groups he was
on
leading,
coloured
it was
people.
actually pretty fucked.
Yeah.
It was fucked.
Look, I I heard this really good point. I know we're going a little bit off, but on the whole, did bullying make him a bully? I watched a documentary the other night on school shootings in America, and one of the points that were brought up in that is one of the first responders was saying, I'm sick of people saying that kids who get bullied shoot up the school. It's the bullies who shoot up the fucking school.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
again, I think it's the accountability thing. And in that situation, in the Nazi situation, reactive abuse is a thing.
Yeah.
If that kid was brought up in a shit household with parents who are also Nazi white supremacists, and he's probably going to turn out a Nazi white supremacist. But like, you get to an age where you have the right to formulate your own opinion, and your opinion's allowed to change. I think people get really caught up in defending their opinion. They don't think they're allowed to change their minds and see things differently.
The other thing is a lot of children and teenagers that have been put in that position, when they've been raised to think one way and one way only, you got to think of it as they're not thinking that freely. They have been brainwashed to think like that.
Yeah.
They are not what they wanted to be. They are not quite a person. They are the shaping that someone else has molded for them to be.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for a lot of people to understand that, for one, everyone else's opinion isn't your own opinion.
For sure.
And that, like, you know, when they do it because they want to be accepted by
The
the people
general
around
consensus,
them, nobody gives a
yeah.
fuck around you. Like,
Yeah.
you could do anything and no one
Yeah.
actually gives a fuck.
For sure, man. Like, just, yeah. When it gets into that stuff, it's, you know, there's a lot of layers to all of that
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
But,
Factors
sure.
to that shit, for sure, yeah.
yeah, they're not easy conversations to have, but I think they're good conversations to be having. Tying into bullying and stuff, Ty, you brought up when you were younger, you were a large kid.
That was fat as fuck, bro. we don't need to sugarcoat. Look at me now.
All right.
They call me the mitochondria at school. I'm the powerhouse of the cell.
If I have to hear that one more time. So tying into that, do you think there are social standards and expectations surrounding body image?
Look.
And look, I'm not talking about boomers. I'm not talking about Americans. I'm talking about our fucking age group, 13 to 25, Adelaide youth, here. Is
like
what
the,
I mean.
Like the skinny shaming and the fat shaming and
Look,
shit like that.
Maybe I'm a fucking boomer, you know? Like,
Did you just say moomer?
boomer.
Okay, because that sounded like moomer through me. It was like, what the fuck, dude? Anyway.
I fucking hope I didn't say boomer. That's fuck. Anyway, look, I feel like body shaming, I feel like even that's a pretty necessary thing, you know? Like, look, I feel like everyone, but all right, maybe not that bad. I feel like everyone should be encouraged to be their best selves, you know? Like,
the best version of themselves.
that's right. Obviously, there's an exception to every rule. Not everyone can get fit. Not everyone can make changes in their life that quickly. Everyone has an exception. Or like, you know, there's an exception out
To
there.
every rule, yeah.
Hot take, another hot take. I don't think fat phobia exists. I think that's a word fat people made up so they could feel oppressed and then be lazy enough to not do anything to change themselves.
So you don't think that...
Yeah, I know.
Right to the table.
You
I know,
don't
it's
think-
a hot take.
You don't think that large or fat people are marginalized at all?
What do you mean?
Segregated for being fat. I don't want to be friends with you because you're fat. You're not
Look,
getting this job because you're fat.
They can't go
I'm
on
not
planes
inviting you
because
because
they're
you're
fat.
fat. Yeah.
I think that's totally fair enough. Weight limit in the elevator, stay out.
Weight limits and planes.
No, but look,
No, but I'm
I'm
serious,
not
I'm serious.
talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking social shit. Like I'm
Look-
talking missing job opportunities, not being invited to family functions and shit. You know,
Depending on the job, of course, but
But like,
family
do you
functions,
want
that's
a
family.
morbidly obese flight attendant? Is the fucker even going to fit through the plane? Like,
No,
that's...
I know. Like, you actually have a point. That what I'm saying is, like, if you have 4 people in front of you and they're all going for the same job, you're going to pick the 2 people who keep their body the best, like, keep themselves and their appearance the best as possible.
but
'cause
why
it
does
looks good.
fat equal ugly?
Because it's unhealthy. Look.
But it's not always.
No, but it is. Because you're not making an effort
But that's-
to keep yourself at a standard.
But you're looking at every fat person and assuming that every fat person is
no, but I'm
fat
not.
and lazy.
I said there's an exception to every rule, right?
Okay.
I'm saying that they're not making that effort to go out there and make the changes necessary to be them best selves.
So if you knew that fat person was on an active weight loss journey
Yeah.
or an active,
Then congratulations, get on your weight loss journey. Congrats.
you still wouldn't give them that opportunity.
What, they can come back to me when they're fit. Look, I'm not saying I'm excluding them. I'm saying if I had to pick out of a group of people, I'm going to pick the people who are at their peak.
Mm.
You know?
Fair enough.
Like, I'm going to pick, especially if it comes from a company or a job opportunity, I'm going to pick the people who, like, who present themselves the best, you know?
By the way, sorry, just while we're on this, we are all quite skinny people. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. If you feel like we're speaking on behalf of a community that is not ours or anything, or we're overstepping, please say that. If there's something you want us to have said during this podcast, we're reachable through multiple different platforms. This is not us trying to have a discussion on behalf of other people at all. It's social norms and standards that we're facing today. I just wanted to add that in. So we're not speaking on behalf of a community that's not ours.
Because my opinion kind of goes along with yours, along with the, we have a body mass index for classification of which body types are healthy and which body types aren't. And the ultra skinny aren't healthy and the ultra fat aren't healthy. There is a happy medium. And obviously, there's always liver problems, thyroid problems that will prohibit people from either gaining weight or losing weight. But there's a huge demographic that just go, you don't know my problems, because, like you said, they're too lazy to get off their ass and do something.
I'm just going to say, though, I think that it's one thing that I really hate is being fat's over glorified. No, the fuck it's not. No one wants to be fat.
No, but
no one's waking up in the morning. There's a difference between I love myself for who I am right now, even if I am on an active weight loss.
Good point.
Even if I want to be someone else, I'm still entitled to love myself now as it is.
It's not just I love myself because I'm fat. It's
exactly. I don't think any large person wakes up and goes, I love being fat and unhealthy. Yeah, that's not what fat body positivity is.
They don't want to be looked at as ugly because they're not ugly people.
Yeah, fat does not equal fucking ugly.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And we know you never did say that.
No, yeah, for sure. But it is a general consensus outside of this room. A lot of people do think fat equals the same way drug addict equals lazy, unmotivated, drop kick. Fat equals lazy, smelly. Like people have those fucking assumptions about groups of people.
Generally off of a very small group that they've met.
Oh, yeah, very minimal experience.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Do you think that respect differs depending on social standing and expectations? So whether this is classism, race, sexism, whenever I say it, like when I bring it up to you, do you guys think that respect in the youth category we're talking about, do you think that respect differentiates depending on the person?
Entirely.
Yeah. For sure.
A lot of people can't comprehend respect because I don't know if it's because they don't see themselves as respected or it's because they dislike what they're looking at or people or so on, but they don't share. I don't think they even share the same understanding of what respect is, to be honest, and whether they're looking at it like it's courtesy.
Yeah.
Or whether it's actually mandatory. You know how like some people think it's important to be respectful to one another. I don't know if people our own age even think that it's a social requirement.
And think about that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, is this disrespecting someone's ideology or just, like, them in a person?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thought pattern anymore.
Yeah, generalizing, of course, definitely just depends on a lot of to do with, like, upbringing and stuff as well. How your parents, taught you shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we were talking about that before, things like, this is my opinion anyway, things like racism, like all that discrimination, like in a fundamental, that is taught.
It's taught, yeah.
It's not natural.
No.
Children, humans do not wake up and go, I'm white, I hate black people. I'm skinny, I hate fat people.
Yeah.
I'm anti-Semitic today. People don't wake up and choose. We are a social animal.
It's a habit taught.
Yeah, it is habitually taught and passed down through.
Yeah, it's like people looking down on disabled people and stuff like that as well. It's like my sister has a big problem with it because she's not physically disabled, but she's mentally disabled, which causes not many barriers, but a lot of them at the same time. And it's like when she's trying to talk to people, because she can't comprehend what they're saying, they'll just look at her like she's stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, mum uses the word all the time, retard, which I don't quite like, but she just goes, why are you being so fucking retarded?
Yeah.
And it's like, my sister will be like, I'm not a retard. And it's derogatory, but mum doesn't see it like that. And that's what I mean by like, everyone else would give her the respect of not using those words against her, but her own mother can't.
Yeah. And see, that's where bringing up the family thing again.
Yeah.
Another documentary I watched the other night, it was about this emo couple who were bashed to death in Britain. It was a hate crime by a group of like white boys. It was white on white, like it was just an emo thing.
Yeah.
And a really good point brought up in that is it's a lot easier to bully people when you can make a difference. Like you have your groups. They worded it really good. Sorry, I'm trying to like word it in a way that makes sense. Like segregation starts with the simplest things. Like, you know how we listen to the same music, we'll be friends, we're cool. You know, you gravitate to certain people, and the nerds don't get on with the emos, and the emos don't get on with the eshays. And when it's a lot easier to bully someone that you don't relate to. It's a lot it's a lot easier to undermine someone that when you're not talking shit about yourself, like you're talking shit or bullying another demographic that's not yours, it's a lot easier to do. And because we are such social animals, we have really strong bonds like that. The skating community, the weed community, the emo community, like there's so many tightly knit groups like that. So it becomes a group against group thing really quickly.
Yeah. It becomes stereotype against stereotype too.
Yeah, for sure.
Fashion sense against fashion sense.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, you see all the coloured hairs mob together.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Stuff like that.
For sure. With the respect thing, I think it depends what age we're talking and what previous life experience you have, man. Because I was a judgy cunt when I was little. I was really... Because I hadn't had a safe space to learn and create. My opinion hadn't changed. I was a very hateful, closed-minded person.
And it was whatever opinion you'd soaked up from around you.
Yeah, and when I was little, like, I hated rich people.
Yeah.
Hated...
Because they're snobby cunts.
No, bro, you get driven to school by your parents every day, you're a fag. Shit like that, man. Like, I'm serious. Shit that I should have as well as a fucking kid. That's why I was angry. That's why I reacted like that.
When your parents would look at like rich kids with their parents and go, look at those snobs.
Yeah,
so you did the same thing,
exactly.
like they're snobs.
Exactly.
Because they've got stuff.
One time during a maths test, like, I got really flustered and my dad was like, I wish you were like this other kid. Like, he just sent it one time. Like, if only you were like him. Now every time I do fucking times tables or I hear that dude's name, I'm just like, fucking fuck. You know, like, just,
Yeah, comparing never helps anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Comparison's the killer of all joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you bring up a real good point. Like, I feel like each age group has its own specific rules of what respect is.
Yeah.
Like, personally, I never understood why can't you ask a lady their age?
Yeah.
I never understood why can't you wear hats inside. Like just little things like that just don't fucking make sense to me.
Like no sunglasses inside. Holding doors open for people, that's something that's like almost forgotten almost. Like
Definitely.
Everyone has their own definition of respect, but it's definitely more like, I feel like our levels of respect would all be quite similar to each other compared to us in comparison to like people like maybe like a decade older than us or even more.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it definitely changes within the age group.
For example, last night I was at the family dinner.
Me, yeah.
I was one of the youngest at the table, and I'm with boomers, straight fucking boomers, man. I'm telling you. We're at an Indian restaurant. And this is quite authentic.
Yeah, you already know it's
right?
a fucking problem.
Yeah, you already know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm just going to say, there clearly is a difference because I felt secondhand embarrassment.
Oh, tell me about it.
Sitting there, and my dad and my aunties are going, like, they're speaking English, like, they're slow and rude, like, you know, the way that
and
they're
really loudly, like they don't understand.
Yeah,
so if I yell at you, you will.
You drink less, like they'll just be
this camera. English does not equal intelligence.
Yeah.
Fuck up. Sorry. Everyone, there's this big thing that if you can't speak English, you're a dumbass. Ignorance is bliss. Fuck that.
Ignorance is not innocence.
Nah, yeah, no.
No, yeah. I believe in ignorance is bliss, but I don't believe ignorance is innocence.
I was going to say, I've always heard that ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is not innocence.
Fuck that, man. 100%.
Just because you were ignorant doesn't mean you were innocent. You could be standing there as a bystander. You were ignorant, but you weren't innocent.
Yeah. And like on the way out, like I said, thank you for dealing with our difficult fucking family. Like, you guys did an amazing job.
Legit.
I always apologize for my family whenever I go somewhere.
Or like, while we're on the topic of respect, especially around like food in general, if you talk to any of your servers like shit, fuck you.
Yeah, man.
Bro.
If you talk to any waiter or
like,
waitress,
you know how people
like
are just
shit.
like, give me my fucking food. Shut the fuck up,
man.
bro. You
That's
know, like
shit.
everyone's got places to be. Everyone's got a job to do. Of course, again, exception every rule. If your waiter's being a cunt, give them hell.
Yeah,
But like, these are the people who are like
The
preparing
backbone
shit
of
for
this
you,
shit,
bro.
Yeah,
man.
it's
like-
like that time when we were having lunch at the Waddle, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
that waiter, he was horrible.
He was.
And he tried to tell us that we didn't pay for meals and stuff like that because
Yeah.
they weren't there.
He just wasn't the best at his job.
No, he just
Yeah.
he didn't want to
Yeah.
be there.
Legit. But yeah, people who are with me, they just like treat the people who are serving them shit like shit.
Mm.
No, it's not cool, man.
That's not on.
No, fuck no.
It's a real display of character, you know?
Yeah.
They probably definitely have at least one other language that they know on top of some of the broken English that they're speaking.
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure, man. Look, a good
So-
point that was brought up is my dad goes, well, Ty made a point that you had to what were you saying at the other restaurant? You had to write your order.
Yeah. The last
You had to
Indian
write
restaurant I
your
went to,
order
you
down.
write
Yeah.
it down.
And my dad comes out with the comment, oh, it's probably because they can't speak English. And I said, well, it's probably because we can't speak fucking Indian.
Yeah.
I don't think it's to do with them speaking English
No,
at all because we're ordering off an Indian
And
menu.
they probably
Literally.
don't want to deal with like white cunts like from our
oh,
family.
how do you say this? Don't like that saying all the fucking wrong things, like taking
like an
10 minutes to
asshole
order.
too.
Yeah, like mimicking accents and shit. Like it removes a whole barrier of bullshit. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. And also it removes the being culturally insensitive.
fuck yeah.
Because a lot of the time when you pronounce something wrong, it's like you've accidentally insulted
Yeah.
someone's fucking grandmother that's been dead for 30 years.
And bro, let's be honest, how many times have you guys not ordered something off a menu because you didn't want to sound like a dumb cunt?
All the time. All the
Yeah,
time.
or if how many times have you gone to order something and they've looked at you because you're not speaking their language or English or anything.
You're not speaking any language.
You're just kind of babbling.
100%. Social standards, guys. Do you think that there are high expectations around gender and pronouns in our generation?
I honestly don't get the whole gender fucking bullshit, so I don't have that strong. I have a strong opinion, but I don't know if it's the right opinion.
It's an opinion,
No, say it, hot
man.
take,
Yeah,
say
go.
it.
Today's the day.
I don't.
Make me
get-
look better.
You're like,
Take some hot
quick,
takes.
take some negative light away from me
Yeah.
quickly. I don't get it. Or like, I just can't understand it. I mean, I had that point in my life where I was like, oh, yes, I'd like to be gender neutral or looked at like a bloke. But I was like, the longer I did it, the more I realized I'm just creating a persona for what I felt insecure about instead of fixing myself. I
Like
tried
it
to
was just an internal issue you could have dealt with.
instead of fixing my own mentality, I tried to create a personality, and then a few years later, you notice everyone else is starting to create their own personalities or personas separate from their person. And I feel like it's almost become a fashion trend because it's like the further I look into people our own age, the more and more that are doing the same thing. And it's like, I'm not sure if they're doing it off of their own free will or they're doing it because all their friends have done it.
Look,
And when you ask them, half the time they go, yes.
Can I really quickly? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that gay, queer, transgender, intersexual, asexual, non-binary people, we have existed in this amount of numbers forever. We just
Yeah.
couldn't come out because we'd get raped and murdered.
I was
going
going to say exactly that. I was
It-
going to say,
yeah.
I don't think it's a trend people are hopping on. I just feel like we live in such an
a
environment now
safer
where
society,
people feel like they can come out. And now that they're learning about these sort of things, they can think, fuck, so that's what I was dealing with. That's what it's called,
This is
rada.
where my confused thoughts have
Yeah,
come
yeah.
from.
There
But
was
it's
a
like-
word for the way I felt. There was terminology.
That's right. And
for
now
what
there's
I was
education
feeling.
for it. People could be like, oh, so that's how I am.
For
I don't
sure.
feel like it's a trend hopping thing.
Yeah.
I feel like people are just getting more comfortable to be themselves. And now that they're learning about terminology that
Yeah.
expresses how
Yeah.
they are and how they feel,
For sure.
Yeah.
that's what we're living
a
in.
personal example I can give is when I was younger and I was going through like gender identity questions and whatnot. Well, actually, before all of that, I was pretty homophobic, if I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest, because I kind of had these thoughts in my head, but I had the stigma, you're fucked up, that's wrong. You were born a girl, you are a fucking girl. Get that in your head. You're mentally ill. That
Yeah.
That is the thought I had for a long
Yeah,
time.
I went to a religious school,
know.
so girls were girls, boys were boys. They don't
Yeah.
intermix.
Yeah, that's it, man.
There's
That's it.
they don't stick amongst themselves.
For sure. And you know that I went through a phase where I identified as a male for
Yeah.
a while when I was younger. I'm quite fucking young, about 12, 13.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it isn't a choice thing. Like
No.
it is in your blood and you are either going to run into it open arms in a comfortable space if you're allowed to do so, or you're not.
Yeah.
You know, and people are going to have different feelings. Like a straight person with no queer people in their life is probably going to have a different opinion than a straight person with a gay family member or a gay best friend or
Yeah.
queer in this sense,
Yeah.
I do think that there is a really high expectation around gendering people correctly and pronouns and stuff. I think that's
What
a
do you
lot
mean?
of
Like,
pressure.
elaborate.
I think that cisgendered folk experience a lot of pressure to keep up with gender.
Oh, that's what you meant.
yeah. I think the cis community doesn't get it. Like, it's made out it's real easy for them, but can you imagine keeping up with all these new terminologies, all
Yeah.
these new different things?
Look,
like,
I got half a hot take on this.
Mm.
This bit not so much of a hot take.
Yeah.
But like, just because you don't know doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
fuck yeah.
Like, shouts out to the people who are like thrown into this new environment and they're really trying their best just to make their community feel comfortable.
Yeah, facts, man.
Because my hot take is like, you are what you're born with. Like, that's my hot take.
Mm.
But it's like, everyone should be allowed to be themselves. So my thing is gender and
Sex are the same thing.
is the same thing,
Yeah.
yes. But it's also like, be you. It's
Everyone
like,
deserves a space to be unique
that's
and
right.
creative.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
If that's how you're feeling, that's how you feel, man. And it's peace and love, you
Yeah,
know?
man.
It's
Sure.
like, be yourself, you know? Like,
You have a personality beyond the sexual organs.
Yeah.
Why
yeah.
why they're so important is my thought.
I
Mm.
feel like it's super cool that, especially with things like non-binary,
Mm.
it's really breaking down gender roles.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about picking girls up, you know? I can be the guy being picked up. I can have my dinner paid for.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's no
changed
longer a fucked up thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like
Sure.
chicks engaged nowadays. That
proposing.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
women proposing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah,
was,
true, yeah,
that
yeah.
was never a thing back in the day. If
No.
a female proposed to a male, he had to say no because you're not a man if
Yeah.
you get proposed to by a woman.
That's it. Yeah, look, it's weird. It's a
But
tricky
I
one.
don't know if there's a pressure on people.
No, you know where I think the pressure is? Like for me, I had that confused period of time where I thought, you know, maybe I'm something else. I realized, no, I'm genetically a female. There is no other argument to do with this. I'm not hormone therapying to change my mind 20 years later. But constantly being asked what you are, like you're sitting down having a cigarette, someone comes up to you, what are you? Are you a female? Are you a male? Are you whatever these 52 other fucking things are? It's like,
So are you not comfortable being asked what your
no,
pronouns are?
and it's like,
Are you not comfortable being asked what
No.
your pronouns are?
when a chick asked me, she asked me, what are you? And I said, what do I look like genetically? And she said, I don't know. I don't want to get it wrong. And I said, genetically, what do I look like I was born as? She could not answer me. She goes, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. And then I was like,
What's
you're-
wrong with that?
Yeah,
And I
what's
was
what,
like-
I'm thinking
Yeah.
the same thing. What's wrong with
yeah,
that?
exactly. And I was like, and I called her a her and she got very offended at me. But then
So they
couldn't-
don't use she her pronouns?
That's what I was thinking. Wanted to ask me whether I'm a she or a her. And I'm like, but aren't you? And it's like, it's very confusing for me. I don't get it.
I think that was just in case you were
Look, yeah,
trans
I
or
feel
you
I
like
were
don't get it.
non-binary. They
I
just
feel
wanted to
like
make you feel comfortable.
there's
Yeah.
a way to go about
they
it.
wanted to be inclusive.
Yeah.
There's a
and-
way. See, that's a hot take and a half.
Yeah.
Look, to me, I feel like the way that you're making it sound, to me, I feel like they were being respectful and they were asking you what you go by.
Mm.
And I couldn't give a fuck about it. That's why I was just like,
Look-
why does it matter?
But it does matter because we live in such a community
Mm.
now where everyone identifies as different things. Everyone's trying to figure themselves out, you
But
know?
we're all human. That's why I'm so confused.
No, we are human, but they were doing the respectful thing. Because
Yeah.
what if you were someone going through it and you actually weren't sure what you were?
Yeah, exactly. Then I'd be like, oh, I'm this until I classify as something else.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like they were going out of their way just to try to make you comfortable.
yeah, because I mean, like, I suppose 5 years ago, I would be called an it. If people couldn't figure it out, that was the easiest thing.
But
You're an
like,
it.
there's a way to go about it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. There's a way to go
it-
about it. There's a difference
it-
between, hey, what do you go by? And hey, what the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, there's a total difference.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I
And
thought
it-
when you were first talking about it, I thought they were going like, what even the fuck are you?
But it was a what do you identify as? And I just responded with another question of what do I genetically look like?
So,
I hate that.
so,
because
can I
that's what
just
they're trying
clarify?
to avoid.
Can I clarify? They've gone, what do you identify as? And you go, well, I've got a vagina.
Basically,
Can I ask?
Fuck,
Yeah, is that
dude,
what
that
that
is a
is?
hot
it's basically
take.
like I've got
Because-
yeah, it's like what's between my legs? Is it a dick? Is it a vagina? Which is it?
But why does that fucking matter?
That's why
Like,
I'm wondering.
I just
Why
No,
did-
no, you're not wondering
no,
that. You're
no.
not wondering
We're
that.
on different ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, no, but the
Yeah.
other thing is she didn't ask me my name. She, he, it. I don't know. They didn't ask me my name.
Mhm.
They just asked me what I was.
They were just trying to. How did they ask their question, Rachel? Did they say, "What are you?" Or did they say, "What are your pronouns?" What did they say? Do you remember?
It was like, what do you identify as?
All right.
It's
Okay.
like,
And you replied
with what
the fuck do I look like?
what do I genetically look like? Not what the fuck do I look like?
What
What
do
do
I
I genetically look like?
Look,
But see-
man, they were trying so
Yeah.
hard to be respectful.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you were just like,
No.
fuck you, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, fuck off. I don't. I don't.
Look, man, you're allowed to be
But you
proud
kind
about
of
being
answered-
cis.
And
You're allowed to be
I was
proud
about to
about
say,
being cis.
And yeah, my opinion goes back into the why the fuck should I beat around the bush because other people are sensitive about it?
Look.
But they were trying to make sure that
Yeah.
you weren't.
Yeah,
censored. I
yeah.
totally agree
Yeah,
with what
exactly.
you're saying. I 100% back
Yeah,
your
exactly.
opinion.
And I
there.
don't think I've ever seen this person again in my life.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know why other people make it so important. Like, why does it matter what people identify as? Like,
Look, it's totally important because
But
it's self-identity, you know? That's like, forget about the non-binary and
Mhm.
stuff like that. If you're a male and a female, me being a man, I would want to be classified a man. When people ask me, I feel proud to tell
Yeah,
them.
if I purposely misgendered you as female,
That's right.
that would upset
That's
you.
right. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, man. That is a hot take. Look, they were being respectful, and
Just
it's
don't purposely be a cunt to anyone. How about we
Yeah,
just make that
that's
a thing?
right.
Just
it
don't
goes back to the
purposely-
bullying.
Yeah, it really
We've gone
does.
full circle with
It
my
does.
opinion.
You just, I think, I said last week even on the bullying thing, like, if a straight person used slurs against me as a joking manner, I wouldn't take it as a fucking joke.
no.
As where if another queer person, like, it just depends on your experience. It depends on everything. People are going to have heated, heavy fucking opinions about things like this. And I'm equally as passionate. It is important as you
Yeah.
are equally passionate. It's not important.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm on the whole sexuality and gender doesn't matter and it doesn't define people for who they are.
I feel like it plays a big role in who you are, but it's not who you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Being non-binary for me is not a personality trait.
that's right. That's what I mean. That's
I
what
don't
I mean.
use
Yeah.
that as it's
And
not
for a lot of people it is.
Correct.
being queer.
Yeah.
Being
That's all
queer
that they
is
are.
a personality trait for a lot of people. It is a big
Yeah.
It's a big part
I
of
just
their
try to use they
personality.
them until someone corrects
Good
me.
on you, Rocky.
That
Good
is the
shit,
respectful
man.
thing to do.
Good shit.
It's not hard, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it, Rachel. It fucking
Yeah.
sounds-
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't.
No, you should
No.
keep it at
No, that's cool. Everyone has different opinions. As long as you're not actively going out and trying to cause harm to
No,
people
it's
who
like-
have different opinions, it's okay.
No, it's like a bunch of my friends constantly correct me. They're like, it's they. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll get it next time. I swear.
I don't think I've ever
That
heard you
sounds
gender
so
me correctly.
sarcastic,
But
though.
no, listen, I don't think I've ever heard you gender me correctly, but I've never outwardly come out to you. I've never said, Rachel, my pronouns are they, them. Therefore, I don't have that expectation of you.
Exactly.
To refer
It's
to
like,
me
whereas
as they,
people
them.
who have come to me with that, they've gone, can you please call me that? Like,
Yeah.
them or they. It's like, yes, I can. I'm
And you
sorry I've
respect
done
it.
this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like,
for
I may
sure.
not identify as that myself, like, but I can't just reject people because I don't understand them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
And
a
I
good point.
understand that.
Look, man, I think you just need to go forth with love and care. Tread carefully as much as you can without affecting yourself and whatnot. Be kind. Be conscious when you speak. You know, it's little things, man.
That concludes this week, guys.
Yeah.
Look, we're Puff and Puffs. As always, it's peace and love. Shouts out to Rory from Podbooth who records and edits all of our shit. Shouts out to the local drug action team for funding us. Links below. Shouts out to everyone joining us here for another installment of Puff and Pass. Until next time.
So
Peace
I've
and love.
got one more.
Peace.
Just remember, guys, we're contactable through Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. If you got any ideas, questions, comments.
Keep the socials. It's in the description.
Thanks, guys.
Puff and Pass podcast.weebly.com.
Yes, sir.
Puff and Pass.